Now, if you take a look at this slide, you see that we have details here on boys and girls and how many hours they spent revising. So in order to compare these two distributions, we're going to work out the mean, median and range for each distribution. Now, you can see on the other clips how to actually do these calculations, and you should be quite happy with working out averages from a frequency distribution. The boys' averages, well, the boys' mean is 2.2. Their median is 2, and the range, remember the highest value, take away the lowest value, is 4. And likewise, you can work these out yourself. For the girls' mean is 3.3. The girls' median, so remember that middle value, is 3. And then the girls' range in this particular distribution is 3 as well. So we now have the same 3 averages for both distributions, and now we're going to compare them by making observations on what these averages tell us. Now, the first thing we notice is that the mean and median for the girls is higher than those for the boys. Now, what this tells us, and what we should therefore write in our exam question, is that the girls therefore spent longer revising than the boys on average. Now, when it comes to the range, well, you can see the range for the girls is lower than the range for the boys. So that therefore means, remember what the range is, it's a measure of spread. So it means that the boys' range being higher therefore meant that their revision time was more spread out than the girls. So when it comes to using averages to compare distributions, think about what they mean. Mean and median will tell us whether someone is better or worked for longer on average than someone else, and the range is an indication of how far spread out the data is. The last thing you need to be able to do is to be able to recognise when you calculate averages about two different distributions, what those results can tell you when you compare the distributions. So here are some notes just to give you a few ideas as to what to look for when comparing two distributions. You'll now be asked in examinations to compare two sets of data and make conclusions based on it. So remember, the larger the range, well, that means a much wider spread or variation amongst the data. When you interpret the mean, well, if we're looking for a running speed, then a lower mean would be favourable. But if we're looking at IQ scores, then a higher mean is the favourable one and should be noted as such. Next, use all averages and stem and leaf if possible to thoroughly compare the data sets and draw conclusions based on these calculations. Notice also that you have seen how to work out the interquartile range, which gives you an indication of how that central 50% of the data is spread. So when you do your calculations, make sure you look at your answers, and when comparing them, think carefully about the sentences you're going to write based on them.